All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second official episode of Masti with Satvik Saini. Today, I have a very special guest, one of my old college buddies, Aditya Malkan, and we met in college, and I wanted to have him on. We'll be talking about some of the current events today, especially pertaining to coronavirus, the implications for the future, our thoughts, how we're doing, and take it from there. It'll be free-flowing conversation. And one little note here for you all, some people who might not understand what Masti stands for. Masti basically means fun in my native language, which means, so that's where this concept of the podcast came from. It's just fun conversation, interesting, thought-provoking, fun convo. So, Adi is going to request to join, and we can get started. Waiting for Adi.
What's up, dude?
Oh, man, dirty stash, bro.
Yeah, dude, the stay-at-home stash. Keeping it creative.
How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good. Another Monday in quarantine, so.
All right, Adi. So I told him a little bit about us. We met in college. I think the first time I met you, one of the few things you said to me was like, you don't get along with Indians. I was like, dude, go screw yourself. And then we're best friends since then. So a little bit today. And we're just going to talk and get started with quarantine, like COVID-19 stuff. So
Awesome.
Tell me, man, how are you and your dad's stash coping with this?
It hasn't been too much of a drastic change for me. For my company at least, about 4 weeks ago, they rolled out an announcement saying that there'd be a work from home order soon, and we were going to roll out a testing phase. It was going to be A's and B's. So basically, if you're team A, you'd be in the office for 1 week. Team B, you'd be in the office the week after that. And basically the goal is to split up the people so that they could avoid the large gatherings. But then that weekend, the cases started to peak in NYC and in California and Seattle. So they just made the decision to have everyone work from home. And I've basically just been at the apartment ever since. I went to the bars and out to dinner and stuff the weekend before. So I wasn't really able to see my family. I was trying not to for at least 2 weeks because of the incubation period. I was worried about giving it to them. My parents are 55, 60, so they're in that prime age where if they were to get it, it would be difficult for them. And then I had 2 younger sisters as well who I was worried about. So it's been a little tough, but nothing too crazy.
Oh, damn, yeah. So you're quarantined out in Denver, so you're not going to go home just in case you might give it to your family or anything like that?
I actually just went this last weekend, but I even tried to stay the acceptable 6 feet distancing. We went on a little bike ride and stuff just to be safe. I mean, they've been saying that there's asymptomatic cases and carriers of the virus, and there's so many pieces of information out there on the media. Obviously, you try and listen to the doctors and the disease specialists and stuff, but just I'd rather be safe than sorry. I mean, I can easily just FaceTime my family, and they're just a quick drive away when this is over. So.
For sure, dude. That's smart. That's a smart way to go about this. So as far as like you personally, are you just losing your mind? Are you bored? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty bored. A lot of my job is I'm a support engineer for a team of more senior engineers. So if I ever run out of things to do, I try to go to them and ask if they need help with anything or like day-to-day problems in the plant. So a lot of that has been taken away, and I feel kind of nagging just messaging people on Teams like, what's up, what can I do? So a little bored in the office per se, and also can't do anything after work. Can't go to the gym, try and stay off the streets, I guess. Can't go out to eat. So.
Dude, I recently saw like a drone view of Denver, and it was just like The Walking Dead. Like no one for miles to see, very minimal traffic. It was just crazy to see a scene like that.
It's pretty ridiculous. So we live in the central business district, me and Scott, and we take a daily walk every day. And we ventured over into Lodo on Saturday, I think, or last Saturday, and everything was dead until you got to the park, and then there were just a ton of people. So kind of makes you wonder whether this is all working or if anyone's even giving a shit and we're just sitting at home for no reason. Or
No, for real. I think, I'll be honest, like me and Monis still go play tennis. And like I've never seen more people outside since the stay-at-home order launched. And like people playing tennis, people still playing basketball. So like I only go with my brother, only play for like a certain amount of time, be careful,
Right.
come shower, all that stuff, but it's just like the mass volume of people still outside, like playing soccer or whatever the case may be. You can tell people are going a little crazy. So
Yeah,
as far as
absolutely.
like, what do you think? How long do you think we'll be in lockdown for, like quarantine for? What are your personal thoughts on this?
So I ran a little Twitter poll and a group me poll with some of my friends from Houston, and then my limited Twitter following base right when this all first started. So my four options were May 1st, May 15th, plus or minus a few days, June 1st, plus or minus a few days, and June 15th, plus or minus a few days. So the consensus between the two groups was actually before May 1st that people would be back in the office and life would be back to normal. But personally, I think we start to see normal going back to the office, phasing into it June 1st. And then I don't really know that things are going to go back to normal because there's still going to be a fear of getting the virus. There's going to be easing into it. We don't know whether there's going to be a second wave or anything like that. So I think we won't see normal life until people have peace of mind and a vaccine is released to the general public.
Oh, for sure, because I think the testing is like the biggest wild card there, right? Like, especially, well, okay, what does normal? What will normal even mean? I don't think we'll be back to normal till like the end of the year,
Yeah,
starting early 2021.
I saw this video on Facebook the other day, and it was like a game day scene around Coors Field in the summer, and just people like basically touching each other, and you can't even move, kind of crowds. And I just wonder when people will be comfortable doing that again.
I think people are still in their denial stage. And honestly, I think it hit me like I think 2 days ago, where I think the new normal is going to change. We'll be inside for a while, and I think the way we go about life after this will impact a lot of things, not just like or touching or hands washing or hugging or whatever the case may be, but like overall, like a lot of the industry's impact and what people will take out of this. I think it'll be long term for sure. I think it'll be. I think summer is. I think we'll be inside. Honestly, we might be because think about it. If we're quarantined for this amount of time, right? Let's say even like 2-3% of people get it because the cases are rapidly rising. Then what? Like there's still a huge amount of population that's still susceptible, hasn't gotten it, and then what? Do we go back into quarantine during the second wave? So that's where I think this could be huge.
Yeah, there's so much up in the air, and even I mean we haven't seen something like this in such a long time. Even nothing in our lifetime, obviously, not in our parents' lifetime, and then even disease specialists looking back on other pandemics, it's just very difficult.
Yeah, dude. So obviously this is hurting the economy. Obviously this is hurting a lot of people. But who do you think it hurts the most currently?
I'd say, I mean, obviously the people who are getting sick and the older population who are more at risk are being hurt adversely. But then in terms of businesses, you're seeing my industry, oil and gas, being hit pretty bad, the hospitality industry, entertainment, everything. It's just for oil and gas, at least, it's kind of a catch-22 because you have the price war with the Russians and the Saudis, and then you have also a demand decrease. And then when you think about like your hospitality, your hotels, your bars, everything, nobody's going out, nobody can go out, nobody can spend money at restaurants. I mean, even now I've been trying to get a little bit of to-go food and stuff, but I think there's a bit of skepticism even there, you know?
You should still be like door dashing food. Are you worried
Yeah,
about that? It might be contaminated or something.
yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't know whether I went to Domino's the other day and like went to pick it up and I saw the guys, they were making the pizzas with no gloves. I mean, and even if they had gloves on, I don't think they're temperature testing those guys when they're walking in. So it just comes down to
Well,
like
that's classic
weighing the risks, I guess.
for sure. I mean, that's classic Domino's. We can never expect more from
Hey,
them.
it's quality pizza, man. Come on.
Blackjack's better, but
Oh
yeah,
my.
I think the biggest uncertainty is just the like. I think unemployment could hit like an unprecedented amount. Like especially in some of those industries like restaurants. Like there's a guy in Seattle who owns like 13 mid-tier type of restaurants, and 12 of them closed. He's closed down 12 of them. Meaning, like, think about the impact that has on a lot of people, especially like you and I. Even oil and gas, like relatively, you guys can still work from home. Even though I'm in tech, I know it's a lot easier for my industry. But like some people, they don't have that opportunity to work from home, and like it's just crazy to think about for those people, or like living paycheck to paycheck now. It's insane.
No, absolutely. And restaurants, I mean, they don't have the savings that a lot of restaurants don't have the savings to stay open for more than a few weeks. So I think we're going to see a lot of small businesses closing, and they're going to suffer a lot from this, which is, it sucks.
Who's Tim?
Oh, Tim is one of my buddies from Houston, just rattling off in the
He's
comments down there about the stash.
he's got some fire comments. But dude, what about like, I feel especially bad for I think seniors graduating in college now. Like that's first of all, they're missing their graduation, and then entering the job market now is just terrible.
Yeah, I've been talking to Ian Randall about it and how he's missing. I mean, they canceled E-days at Mines. They're doing online classes, and luckily his credit load isn't too crazy. But I mean, I don't think they've officially canceled graduation yet, but I think they're going to. I mean, they have the national 10-person rule until April 30th, and then only mid-May is graduation, right? So it seems unlikely that that's going to happen. And those are, I mean, you can't make that up. What are they going to do? Call everyone back in September and walk across the stage? It's not going to happen.
I mean, yeah, even if they do, who's gonna go back? Especially if
Right,
people
because
scatter around places.
yeah, I was talking about to Ian about field session and what they're going to do about it, because he said that they were considering just moving summer one to summer two, and then having everyone come for summer two. But a lot of the seniors push back on that because because they have job offers.
Yeah, I mean it's like a certain stage. I think the worst part of senior year is supposed to be like the best time because you're like
Right.
done with basically most of your shit. You're like it's your best time. You go out to bars, whatever, and have fun before you start working. And then it's kind of robbed like unexpectedly. People have to go home, pack up, live with their families again, which is a huge adjustment for a lot.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely a huge change. And then I took a trip after my senior year, and I would have been bummed if I didn't get to do that because I don't get that much vacation now. So, and you're not going to have that much vacation until you, I think, either switch careers or switch jobs or something like that. Or you're lucky and you have unlimited vacation. But
Dude, and worst case scenario, like companies start pulling internships or full time offers. That is just like the worst case scenario, which would suck.
oh yeah,
But I don't
absolutely.
see
I
that.
mean, I think if you're a senior right now and you're still looking for a job, just try and flex as many connections as you can. Make sure you're still networking and everything because, I mean, looking for a job is hard enough already. I remember when I was applying 2 years ago, I applied for like a couple hundred positions or something like that, and then you get a few responses, and then you have to interview. And are they going to only video interview now? Are they pushing it back? And then on top of that, like you said, the current market is down, so a lot of places probably aren't even hiring.
Oh yeah, it's a numbers game. Slide in those LinkedIn DMs, baby. If you're graduating now, hit up everyone in LinkedIn you know.
Yeah.
But dude, like I was thinking about this, like the worst times, like when the '08 recession or other worst times that passed, have always led to a lot of opportunity. And I think this will be the biggest boom of like fully remote work from home companies. I think we'll see a big surge in that. So as a follow up thing for that, what if your company was like, "Hey, Addy, your boss was like, hey, we're going fully remote starting July." Would you be happy, sad, or meh?
I think it would take a big adjustment. Right now, I kind of have, first of all, it would take an adjustment in my apartment. Kind of have like a ragtag workstation set up where Scott and I we set up the dining table. He's got half and I've got half. Have one monitor and my laptop. So I'd have to have a dedicated workspace to make sure that I'm really focusing, and it'd be a huge adjustment. I don't like to really, even in back in school, I didn't like to like study in my room or anything like that. I kind of like to have a separation. So
True.
in terms of in terms of environment and my attitude, I think it'd be worse. But in terms of my day-to-day job, DCPs, I mean, it hasn't changed too much. Like I said, the face-to-face interactions of my duties coming from that wouldn't would suffer, but I don't think the company would be adversely affected. And obviously some of the things couldn't be completely work from home, like the guys who are in the plant and stuff.
For sure. So what do you prefer though? You prefer coming into the office?
Uh, I think I'd prefer work from home if I could do other things. If I could still go out to eat and go out on the
Yeah.
weekends and go to the gym, I'd prefer working from home. But being at home for everything is not optimal, so I'd rather be in the office, yeah.
I think this has kind of shed a new light on like work from home for me because being a project manager, like I think most of my job entails communication, and like that being most of my job, I like face to face stuff. But
Right.
dude, like the commute time and all that, like now trying to make best of it because we're forced into the situation. Like if you have a routine at home, like you can make the best of it. And I do save a lot of time at home, honestly. Like for me, my commute was like hour and a half one way, so I'm saving like 3 hours straight up there, which allows me to be more productive for other things. So I think work wise, I think it's helped.
No, definitely. I mean, rolling out of bed 15 minutes before and just washing my face and getting a cup of coffee going definitely saves time, allows me to hit the ground running in the morning. Although my commute isn't terrible right now anyway, but I understand what you're saying. I had a bad commute in Houston, so
Yeah, all the people dodging traffic and dude, like I think as far as the I think this says like bullshit to a lot of companies that said they couldn't work from home. For example, like my mom works at the bank, right? And she's a banker. And like the back office there was like never allowed to work from home. And now they're making it work. So it just shows like what kind of transition we might have in the work life moving forward.
yeah.
For a lot of the other besides tech, like even oil and gas, like I don't know how often you guys were allowed to work from home per se and how it was like a good amount. But I think that'll change for the better.
I completely agree. Are we looking at questions? I want to answer Tim's question.
What is this?
He said, "Do y'all think the last market rally is another dead cat bounce?" I think absolutely. I don't really know why it went up 7% today when, yeah, the cases went down over the weekend, but I think the worst is yet to come.
Oh, for sure. Like Dr. Fauci or Fauci, I don't know how
Fauci.
you say it. Fauci, but he said this was going to be the worst week for us. And this is, I think, just players with a lot of money in the game, just moving the market around and playing with the system there. I don't think it's any. Airlines are still down. All the cruise lines are still hit quite a bit. This is just a dead bounce.
Not to mention
But good
that,
times.
yeah, the effects haven't been, they won't be seen for a few months. So, like the real bad ones.
Real bad ones. What do you mean? Like which industries are you talking about?
I mean, everything. I mean, obviously, you've seen hits currently, but it's mainly like been like panic selling and everything like that. But you haven't seen any true like numbers from like Q1 earnings from hotels, restaurant companies, things like that. And those are really gonna be the tellers as to what the virus's impact is. Because obviously everyone knows that everything's slowed down right now, but once you quantify it, there's going to be another level of clarity to what the real effect of what's going on is.
Oh, for sure. And I was thinking about like, there's always been talks about like automation and how we can start implementing that. I think big tech will make a big push during this time to start doing that. So I think this will lead to like a lot of workers changing up their skills, adapting, honing. Like this will be, I think the unemployment rate will be pretty brutal, to be honest. People will be hurting for a while.
No, absolutely. Garrett, I don't think that it's priced in. I think that we'll see the bottom one more time and then we'll start to slowly rally.
Yeah, if anyone else has any more questions, feel free to shoot them down here. What did Tim say? Is it though? Hey, by the way, this is not a green screen. This is just my room, and this is what I got from E-Days at Mines, and this might be my podcast artwork. So I'm still working on that.
I
I'm just
like
having a
that.
bland mic.
That's a good idea.
All right, dude. What do you think about this? Over under on 100,000 Corona or COVID-19 themed frat parties after this goes out for fall. Over under.
Over. I mean, people are going to see this once it's like, I guess, I mean, I don't know if it's ever going to be super socially acceptable to joke about it, but obviously people are going to be joking about it and they're going to be rallying and partying and using every every excuse they can to go out. So, I mean, you already
Every
seen
excuse to
like
buy.
you've already seen like the Corona. I mean, I even did it myself. I went and bought a pack of Corona beers when this all first started and had some. Mainly just to meme some of the 38% of Americans who are thinking that you could get the virus from beers, which is ridiculous.
It's not true. Where'd you get that number from?
I saw
Did
it.
you say 38%?
Yeah, I can. It was like 38% of people who took the poll. I can send you the article.
Man, what else do you think will be big time changes?
I think
So socially,
Scott and I were talking about it the other day in terms of the office. There's going to be a now it's going to be more acceptable to work from home. Not, I mean, like you said, work from home, but work from home when you're feeling kind of sick. I think if you're not like dying sick, most people go into the office even when they might not need to. Like obviously some professions you might need to, but others that you could do the same work from home and people are like, "Oh, you're fine. You're just coughing and stuff." And now people aren't going to want to be around that. So,
why is it frowned upon in oil and gas, basically, in your company, to like if you're working from home?
it's not frowned upon, but we don't have I mean, we don't have the flexibility that you guys do. I think I'd have to have some kind of reason to regularly work from home.
No, that's fair. I see what you're saying. And good point, Nick. Skewed stats. Dude, also, I think this will. Ooh, what's the question there?
How long do you think this isolation will last? Some say 18 months of isolation is needed because the virus would come back later and perhaps fall. Thoughts? Tell me.
I don't know about 18 months, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're in isolation until the end of the year. Even then, like, he makes a good point. No, seriously, like, think about it. This could be spiked up again. What if it starts being like a seasonal thing after that? Like Dr. Fauci was saying. And then we're still screwed for a long time for this, like, vaccine to come and for total eradication of this. I think a lot of people are underestimating how big this is.
I don't think I mean 18 months is a little crazy because the estimates for the vaccine that I've been seeing are currently like early 2021. So that's about a year out. And like you said, I think it is going to be a little seasonal and we will see once we release everybody to doing what they're regularly doing, there's going to be a second wave. It just seems unlikely that it's as contagious as it is. Once you restore the normal, something's going to happen. So maybe we'll see an opening at the end of summer and then another close down. I don't really know. A lot of uncertainty. I think 18 months is a little too much though.
No, I agree. That's a little long time. Also, I think this might be a spike in like, I think our society is skewing towards like a non-religious society. I think this might be a spike in like religiousness again, to be honest, in all faiths, because people always need something like to bring them together, and this kind of thing might just be like a new way of our generation, maybe or younger, looking at faith in a different perspective,
That's an interesting take. I'm
like a
not
higher
sure.
power.
Yeah, I mean, people always want to have something to believe in, and I think that's why even in the States right now, you always see like patriotism is boosted in wartime and in tragedy and stuff like that. So, yeah, people are definitely looking for some sort of higher power.
That'll be interesting. That'll be something I'll be looking at. But we got a question
Mid,
by Nidhi.
you
How do
want to
you
read it?
navigate workplace etiquette while working from home? And how do you maintain a professional atmosphere? You want to take this one, Addy?
Sure. So, in terms of like making sure that there's no like, I mean, a lot of the things that may require a professional etiquette are like conference calls and meetings, obviously. So, if I need to take a call or a video call, Scott and I will go into our respective rooms, close the doors. There's obviously a shared understanding that nobody should be screaming or making excess noise in the background if they can avoid it. I haven't had many video meetings. I had one last week, and I mean, nobody was wearing like business cash or anything like that. I didn't even have a polo on. Uh, I don't
That's
know.
big for you.
Yeah, this is the most dressed up I've been in 3 weeks. So I think just, yeah, making sure you're staying in the work zone when you're on a phone call with someone else. Biggest thing for me.
But dude, I see like a lot of my coworkers with their like kids running around with like shirtless or all that. It's been kind of like everyone understands where we're coming from in terms of like the professional etiquette.
No,
I think the
absolutely.
bigger I think the bigger thing is like for you to act like everything's still normal. It's to like go about your day in like a disciplined kind of way. Because the
Yeah,
first week I was like waking up, like not really having a schedule and just like doing whatever, and it was just kind of a disaster. But if you wake up with that kind of set of mind, like you're still going to the office, kind of separate things like fun and whatnot, that leads to more productivity in my for me anyway. All right, Addy, we're approaching the end of the convo. Is there any other? Dude, can I just say, I think you're the only Indian who still looks like a pedophile with a mustache, even though we're like known for having mustache.
Bro, it's
I'm
because
not even kidding.
it doesn't really look that good when I like clean shaved it just now. I try to have like a little bit of side stubble and it looks a lot better, but figure I'd just go all out for the video.
If you get a date mustache, I'll give you $10.
Oh,
A
dude.
full-on date.
Okay.
It has to be someone I don't know though. Can't be
So
posed.
I can't just tag in Nidhi here and take the $10 and run.
No, we can't have people flying in during this time.
All right.
All right, my dude. Anything else? Do you want to plug anything? Your Instagram or anything like that? Any final thoughts?
Give me a follow. My handle's in his last story. It's been a pleasure being on the podcast. I think it was a very interesting topic and look forward to being on here in the future.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Stay safe.
You too, bro.
I miss you. All right, see ya.
Bye.
All right, guys, that was the conversation with Addy. And some of you still might be wondering what my podcast entails, and it's just Masti with Satvik Saini and a variety of topics with a variety of guests. And I'll have some current events. We might just talk about episodes. Some might just have myself going on a rant about something. So stay tuned. Podcast episodes will still continue to be every Monday and Thursday, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I'll try to have guests as often as I can. And then also it'll be a little bit free-flowing. I know I've certainly set a cap on this before, around like 15 minutes, but I don't think it's hard to have organic, deep conversation with that time limit. So it'll be like 15 to 30 minutes. And as usual, I'll be uploading these episodes on IGTV and my podcast. Hopefully that'll be up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify soon. Yeah, Garrett. So I'm working on for a podcast platform, and eventually down the road, I want to be on YouTube as well with a whole mic and video setup to improve audio and video quality. And that is all for tonight. Thank you all. See you next Thursday. Have a good night.